Hey student, how are you? Welcome to our session on solving quadratic equations. We're going to do 6 problems and we're going to solve them 2 different ways. Number one. Number one, x squared minus 36 is a difference of 2 perfect squares. So we can use our pattern to factor. The square root of 36 is 6. So we get x plus 6 and x minus 6. Then we'll set each factor equal to 0, set each factor equal to 0, and solve. We get -6 and +6. Let's use the square root method to solve the same equation. We can add 36 to bring it to the other side, and then we'll take the square root to undo the power of 2. Whenever you take the square root, you need both roots. So we get x equals +6 and -6. Number two. Number two, factoring. I see that we have a greatest common factor. We can factor out a 3 from both terms. We're left with x squared minus 25. Then once again, we have a difference of squares, so we can use our pattern. X plus 5, square root of 25 is 5, and x minus 5. And then we'll set each factor equal to 0. That one doesn't make any sense. But x plus 5 is equal to 0. We can solve, subtract 5 to bring it to the other side. And we'll set the other factor equal to 0. X minus 5 is equal to 0. And then we'll add 5 to solve. Let's use the square root method. I'm going to add 75 to bring it to the other side, and then divide by 3. Then we'll take the square root to undo the power of 2. And when we take the square root, we get both roots. Number 3. Number 3, once again, we do have a difference of 2 perfect squares. The square root of 16 is 4, and the square root of 81 is 9. So we can factor this. We'll get 4x plus 9 and 4x minus 9. And then we'll set each factor equal to 0, set each factor equal to 0, and solve. For this one, we'll subtract 9 and then divide by 4. We get -9/4. And for the second factor, we'll add 9 and then divide by 4. We get +9/4. Let's use the square root method. I'm going to add 81, bring it to the other side of the equal sign, and then divide by 16. So we get 81 divided by 16. And then we'll take the square root to undo the power of 2. And we can take the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom. Square root of 81 is 9. Square root of 16 is 4. And we get both roots. So we get +9/4 and -9/4. Number 4. Number 4, we have a trinomial, 3 terms, where a is equal to 1. So we can factor by asking ourselves what multiplies to equal -21 and also adds to equal -4. Well, let's see, what are the factors of 21? 1 times 21, 3 times 7, but it's got to multiply to give us a negative, so one of these numbers has to be negative. So we could do positive 1 times negative 21, or we could do positive 3 times negative 7. Which combination of numbers also adds to negative 4? 3 and negative 7. So we can factor. We will get x plus 3 and x minus 7. And then we'll set each factor equal to 0 and solve. We get negative 3 and positive 7. And then let's use the quadratic formula to solve this one. A is 1, B is negative 4, and C is negative 21. And we'll substitute into our quadratic formula. The negative is part of the formula, and then B is negative 4 plus and minus the square root of negative 4 all squared minus 4 times A, where A is 1, times C, which is negative 21, all divided by 2 times A, where A is 1. We'll fill in the square root. That's all under the square root. Make that 1 the square root. And we'll simplify under the square root. We get negative 4 outside the square root is positive 4, plus and minus, and then we'll simplify. Negative 4 squared is 16, and then negative 4 times 1 times negative 21, we get plus 84. 16 plus 84 under the square root, which is the square root of 100. And square root of 100 is 10. So we get 4 plus 10 divided by 2 and 4 minus 10 divided by 2. And we'll simplify both of these. 4 plus 10 is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. And 4 minus 10, we get negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. 7 and negative 3. Number 5. Number 5. I see that we have a trinomial where A is 1. So we can factor by asking ourselves what multiplies to equal negative 36. It also adds to equal positive 5. Let's see, we could do 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9. But we need to multiply to get a negative, so one of these is negative. Then we can do these all again and make the other one negative. Negative. And then which combination of two numbers also adds to give you positive 5? Oh, we had it right here. There it is. This will multiply to negative 36, and negative 4 plus 9 adds to give you positive 5. So we can factor. We will get x plus 9 and x minus 4. And then we'll set each factor equal to 0 and solve. We get negative 9 and positive 4. And then let's use the quadratic formula to solve this one. A is 1, B is positive 5, and C is negative 36. And we'll substitute. The negative is part of the formula, and then we'll substitute 5 in for B, plus and minus the square root of B squared, 5 squared, minus 4 times A is 1, times C is negative 36, all divided by 2 times A, where A is 1. And we'll fill in this square root here. There we go. And then we'll simplify under the square root. 5 squared is 25. 4 times 36, we get 144 all over 2. Square root, and then we'll add 25 plus 144. We get the square root of 169 divided by 2. Square root of 169 is 13, plus and minus. So you get negative 5 plus 13 divided by 2, and negative 5 minus 13 divided by 2. We'll simplify those. And negative 5 plus 13 is 8. 8 divided by 2, we get 4. 4. And our second fraction, negative 5 minus 13, we get negative 18 divided by 2 is negative 9. Negative 9, negative 4. And number 6, the last one, we'll take a look at a trinomial where a is not 1. A is 3. So we're going to use factor by grouping. First, we'll multiply 3 times 4. 3 times 4, we get 12. So what multiplies? Multiplies to equal 12 and adds to the middle term, negative 8. Let's see, 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, negative 1 times negative 12, negative 2 times negative 6, or negative 3 times negative 4. Negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12, and negative 2 plus negative 6 is negative 8. So let's rewrite our quadratic. I'm going to break up the middle term using negative 6, negative 6x, and negative 2x. And now we can factor out the greatest common factor of the first two terms, 3x. And we're left with x minus 2. Then we'll factor out a negative 2 from the second two terms. We're left with x minus 2. Now we see x minus 2 is common to both terms, so we can factor that out. And we're left with the 3x and the minus 2. And then we'll set each factor equal to 0. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve. We get positive 2 and positive 2/3. Now let's use the quadratic formula. B is negative 8, C is 4, and we'll substitute. The negative is part of the formula. Negative 8 is B, plus and minus the square root of negative 8 all squared, minus 4 times A is 3, times C is 4, all over 2 times 3. A is 3. And negative 8 gives us a positive 8, plus and minus the square root of 64 minus 4 times 3 times 4. 4 times 3 is 12, times 4 is 48. All over 2 times 3, which is 6. And let's see, 64 minus 48. 64 minus 48, we get the square root of 16. And the square root of 16 is 4. So we get 8 plus 4 divided by 6, and 8 minus 4 divided by 6. Simplify those. 8 plus 4 is 12 divided by 6 is 2. And 8 minus 4 is 4 divided by 6 is 2/3. And that concludes solving quadratics. Thanks so much for joining our session, and I'll see you next time.